Hi everyone, letter E. Sorry, the empty nester. How are you all doing today? I'd like to welcome you to my garden where I'm not supposed to be doing anything, and yet I keep sneaking around and doing a few things. I've got this 5 gallon container here that used to be an icing bucket. I got it from a local bakery, and I made this back in 2008. And basically, what you do is find a colander, and that's basically a strainer. Like this right here is a strainer where you would strain the liquid from a solid. And um, some of these have edge. Only one and two, you can pull this out. But I pretty much just leave it as it is. I had this setting up in front of the barbecue with some potting soil, and I was looking all over for it, and look at this. A honeysuckle tree, or bush I should say, jumped in there, made itself at home in that potting soil. So I'm gonna have to you know, rather than recharge the soil I had in there, I'm going to start from fresh because I've got one tomato plant left, and this is Sweet Million, and it was damaged in the storm. It was broke over. Where the other one over here, let me take you over here a second. I put this one in the soil, and it's already got a flower going. And I've got this is what's that called? Pro Mix. It's a good amount of peat moss in it and vermiculite and um, or perlite. I'm not sure. I have to read the bag. It might be perlite. And this will grow up on the fence line here where I am gonna mix Happy Frog. It's a really rich potting soil with the Pro Mix here. And I'm not sure if I can do this on camera with one hand using the cell phone, but it hasn't soaked enough, I guess, either to um, be able to put it in. So, do you mind if I sit you down for a second? Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry, I had to sit you down. But I know I should have my video camera, but it's kind of easier for me to just do things right now on live stream and not edit. And that way you get to see, my mistakes and, successes too for right now. So we'll let that set a little more and then mix the Happy Frog in with it. And this has or should have drain holes. I'm not sure if they're clogged up on the side, where it only gets, up to the basket of water. And let's see, I'll have to fill in here. And then the rest of the water will drain out. But plants do really well in this. And if I were to put a plant in, see how wet it is right now. Um, as long as I've got the potting soil up to here, the tomato plant won't mind all this water on the bottom. And it's kind of a well, where it brings the roots down and can always grab a drink down here. Some of the self-watering buckets in the past had a tube, like a 1-inch drain tube. Hi, Shirley. Great to see you. If I miss your comments in the comment line, I may overlook them and not mean to. I'm sorry, but it's better to have a bigger area that you can put water in. And with the 5 gallon bucket, you really don't need a tube. You can just water it. Sorry, the comments disappeared. Thanks, Shirley, for saying it's a great idea. Um, yeah, I'm having a little bit of pain, and today's my 2 o'clock surgery appointment. But see this drain hole right here? It's just stopped. That got plugged up too much. But I'm not gonna bore you with, filling up the whole thing because it's going to take me quite a while to get this all, um, up to this level. It's also too that you could, if it was a whole complete plant, I would have buried most of this, up to here. Let's see if you can see. I would have buried it up to here and then left the rest of the plant up. All I can do is wait till it grows some and then hill it up from there, and I'll keep the soil level about right here on the bucket so that later I can go ahead and bring more soil up too. And then like this too, I can take this tomato in because a tomato plant is actually a perennial. If you bring it in for the winter, it's not going to produce tomatoes unless it has the right temperatures. If you can achieve that in the house, you can achieve tomatoes and potatoes and all kinds of things in the house. But with me having electric heat, that kind of zaps the humidity in the house, and I have a little bit harder time growing things. But maybe with the greenhouse in the future, if I stay here and get it, cooking with a rocket stove or something, or geothermal, was my hope. But everything's a hope and a dream, and all you can do is, kind of wait and see if it happens. But, hi, Nietzsche, really good to see you. This is something that you could do too there. He has issues with critters getting into things. And you can do this and put a little bit of fence around it or put it up a little higher from an animal get into it. And I can't seem to see, yeah, right there I've got tomato cage. Wow, I finally got a minute to see you. Great. It's really great to see you too, Nietzsche. And let me see if I can get this out. Sorry, I'm kind of slow at this. I don't usually use tomato cages unless they go in a container like this. But I guess you're all familiar with tomato cages. And I'm just going to set this in there for right now. And let's see. It's kind of crooked right now, but as soon as more soil gets in there, make sure you like and share. Thanks. I appreciate it, Jinx. Or wait a second, JYNX, Jinx. Hope you're doing okay and try not to overwork. Thanks, Nietzsche. I'm trying not to, but I'm also trying to. Satisfies my need to do something, to achieve something, and have a little bit of food for this year, and I've added some of the, what's that called? The Pro Mix to the tomatoes in this bed. Sorry. Okay, I just was reading why her name had to be changed. Sorry. It's in the comments, and disappeared. But I'm gonna keep it like this and then go back up and get some of the Happy Frog from the car. It's way too heavy for me to carry, so I'm just getting a little bit in a container and bringing it out at a time. And, I guess this should be the sneaky garden, or I'm the sneaky gardener this year, because I'm not supposed to be doing anything, and I'm doing some things, and, really kind of excited. But I wasn't expecting this to take so long to dry up, and not going to keep it too long, but it's really easy to do the self-watering containers like this, and it's best to get a food grade container like an icing bucket. And I'm not sure if the hardware buckets are food grade or not. I know some people grow in them and some people grow in cat litter containers, and I'm not sure that they're food grade. But like this container here, it's kind of broke, but Smoky Mountain maple icing. This is probably a 2.5 gallon container, and that's safe for your plants. And there's all kinds of ways to make self-watering containers and the self-watering grow bags too. All you have to do is, if you look through my videos on how to make the self-watering grow bags with landscaping fabric, I just use this pan right here. It's kind of like an oil pan where you change your oil, and that gives about 3 inches of water at the bottom of the bag where the roots can always come down here and water itself, and it's less work for you, because bringing the hose in and out is kind of a lot of work unless you have an irrigation system set up. And here in Missouri, normally we're flooding and don't need water, but then there's days, like today, everything needed to be watered, but it's going to rain also. So it doesn't hurt, as long as you've got good drainage, for the plants to not get waterlogged. Where tomatoes, really don't like water on their leaves. It causes blight. And potatoes are kind of the same way. But with this right here too, you can also put plastic around this and start your plants out early in the spring too, and make it its own little self-contained greenhouse. There's all kinds of ideals that can happen with the 5-gallon bucket or the 2.5-gallon bucket. You can also take the rain barrels. Mine's broke right now. It's seen its days, but I've got a plastic trash bag in the bottom of it that keeps about 2 inches of water in the container, and the rest of the container would be filled with soil, and it can self-water in that container also. But I guess let's see if there's any questions before I go ahead and let you go. I wanted to show you this too. Mrs. Darce, my friend, she's passed away, but she was in her 90s, and an iris and a daylily breeder. This is one of her irises, and this is called Captain's Table. And I'm really lucky to have it. Thank you. They're gorgeous, but if you look at my hand, look how big they are. They're huge. And then they've got a little bit of the yellow tuft right there, and just gorgeous. And some of them are falling over, but I'm really lucky, I was able to get these out here. Gorgeous. She is with her flowers, you can tell. Yeah, it's kind of like people like her. I considered her kind of like a grandma that I didn't get to grow up with, and I used to go over her house all the time. And I was into shade plants, and like hostas and things like that. And she was into sun plants, and I took her some of my shade, and she gave me some of her sun and plants. And we both, just grew our friendship, and I get to continue, like you said, with her in my yard, because of these plants. But sorry, I keep bringing you back into, what's blooming for the day, because, you can't just make real quick, or I can't just make a real quick video saying what's growing today. So I hope you don't mind me adding on some blooms to the ends of the videos. And I want to thank you all for coming to my live chats, and I'm going to go ahead and let you all go for now, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Let me see if I can turn this around without messing it up. Okay, there I am. Hugs and kisses. Love you all. And thank you, Shirley. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.